All right, welcome in. I am absolutely not Kelly Stewart, but this is definitely last call here on Wager Talk as we get ready for the NFL Week 2. Kelly is on location right now in beautiful New York City, hanging out and wishing a very happy birthday to our good friend, the prop queen, Ariel Epstein. She'll be back in the chair next week. In the meantime, we've got NFL games we got to break down for you here. T-minus 57 minutes and counting to kick off, and I can't think of anybody better to start the show off with than the one and only Gianni the Greek. VR in the house, ready to go here, VR. And week 2, interesting week, interesting line movements so far this morning. Actually, all week long, people trying to figure out who's for real, who's not for real, who's being overvalued, who's being undervalued. What are you getting a sense of this morning early-wise? Where's the steam coming from?
I've never seen so many buybacks in my entire life, Joe. Honestly, like seeing both sides get hit by different groups and both sides get hit by the same group. Obviously at different numbers, also at different VIG. But very few of the times was it manipulation, meaning where they were setting up a game, because in the NFL, it's very hard to do. Even for the betting syndicates, a lot of these sides, it takes a lot more money to move them, even from respected accounts. But with that said, we're seeing a lot of two-way action from betting syndicates, because you got to remember, they're betting numbers. So if one group comes in and lays the 1, and all of a sudden with the piggybackers, it gets to -3, well, another group may have been sitting on the dog and saying at +3, that's the side. So they come in and take the +3 because that's where they saw the plus EV side, a completely different bet than it was at +1. So you got to remember, these groups are betting numbers and they're looking for advantageous positions. And more times than not, the ticket in their pocket is better than what the number is when it closes. So real quickly, a lot of teasers today, a lot of Wong teasers, but you can't be laying more than -120, because if you're laying -130, you're about break even. If you're lucky, maybe a slight hair of an edge or a hair of a negative, EV. But you need 120 to know you got about a 2% edge if you're Wong in. If you could get even money, you got to more than double that. So try to get -110, and you're doing really well. A couple of the teams that are teasable: Ravens number 1 to start off 0-2. I don't think so. Home game, big one for them. Got a West Coast team flying to the East Coast. And more important, the Raiders had some offensive linemen limited earlier in practice in the week. That's why you saw the steam come in on the Ravens. But since then, I think they practiced. That's why the line came back down. So I think you're safest teasing the Ravens. Also, Lions on a teaser, Giants on a teaser, Packers on a teaser, Broncos on a teaser. All 4 of those with the Ravens, all 5 of them actually are Wong. So if you tie them up in 2-team teasers, that would be 10 2-team teasers. You could get all 5 all 5 teams, 10 different combinations. It would be 10, or is it 20? I think maybe 20 teasers. It's just like a round robin, 20 teasers. Yeah. So if you want to get all 5, that would be 20 combinations. Now, a couple sides real quickly. Panthers took the 6.5, took the 6, and then took some even at 5.5 action, believe it or not. And the reason is the recency bias on the Chargers. I mean, one team looked as good as they could look, more or less. I mean, one team looked as bad as they could look in the Carolina Panthers. Chargers looked good, and the Panthers not so much. And I think there's a lot of recency bias there. We may look 6 weeks from now and say that should have been a 10-point spread, not 6. But right now, you're going off of 1 week of data. And I think that's why Carolina's being bet by the sharps and faded by the public. Cowboys, I think they're the right side, but not seeing 7 worries me. Lions, we talked about. Teaser, Colts, Packers, 2-way sharp action. Browns got steam. Vikings got steam. Seahawks, pro group like the Seahawks. Giants, I talked about. As far as good teaser and taking them plus the points. What else were they on real quickly? Oh, the Texans at late at night. If it gets to 7, rest assured, there'll be some sharp groups to take the 7. But they were laying the Texans all week, early and often. Those are some of the sides that we got down on and are looking at, along as well as some of the teasers you can take a look at. Real quickly, 1 or 2 totals: over Giants Commanders, over Bengals Chiefs, over Tampa Bay. So a couple games that they're expecting some points in. All 3 got bet over. Again, follow, fade, ignore. I hope you cash them, don't trash them. Do some damage in week 2. I got the steam room going on next door. So head on over. We're going through game by game and sharing as much as we can.
Go get them, VR. Outstanding stuff as always, brother.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. Cash them tickets, man. We'll see you again next week on Bet On It, as we have got plenty of line movement here across the board. And by the way, shout out to those of you guys joining us live here on a Sunday in the chat rooms, whether it be Instagram, whether it be TikTok, and of course on Facebook, X, and YouTube. How can we forget our YouTube peeps here? As Big Daddy's in the house, Titan CT's here, Bill Sandoval, Boss 429 ready to go. And if you guys have any questions about any of the games coming up, go ahead, drop them in there. We'll see if we can get some of them answered for you. As I can tell you right now, as the board continues to light up here this morning, we are seeing a lot of Jet money hit the board right now as the Jets have gone up. They've been 3.5 for most of the week. We're starting to see 4s, even a 4.5 beginning to pop up here as the Jet love is starting to show in the marketplace. Finally, we were wondering when that hook was going to disappear with Seattle, who has been maintaining right around 3.5 all week long. And we know that, of course, Kenneth is out there. Kenneth Walker is out, the running back for Seattle. He has been ruled out. A lot of people are jumping all over New England, not thinking that Seattle should have any business being more than a field goal favorite on the road, even against New England without their prime running back. And we are starting to see the money come pouring in on New England, bringing that down to just a field goal now, minus 120. -3 is what we're starting to see across the board at the WagerTalk live odds page, which, of course, I would highly recommend you guys take a look. We're also starting to see here, before we bring in the one and only Prez, we are also starting to see, and VR mentioned it, kind of shocked we haven't seen Dallas hit that 7 mark yet, and we have not. It's still hovering around 6.5. Their big tight end, Ferguson, is not going to be in the game. He's already been ruled out for the Cowboys. I am shocked that this has not started to get a little bit more love. Opened up 7 to start the week, got all the way down to 6. We saw 6.5, but it's hovering right there. It is not, I don't think, going to hit 7 without there being any sort of buyback. So either you think Dallas wins this game rather easily, or you're all over the Saints. And again, maybe the Cowboys and a teaser spot might be the way to look if you just want them to win the game at home and move on here. We'll get to Minnesota and the 49ers, as a lot of you are noticing exactly what we're noticing on the board right now. It is getting crushed. Minnesota is getting crushed right now on the board. I am now seeing 4.5 and 4s popping up here. Mind you, this was 6, 5.5, 5. I know the contests hovering around 5, 5.5 is where those were locked in midweek. And now we're starting to see 4.5 and 4s. So a big wise guy push Sunday morning here on Minnesota, pushing this line down. And of course, we know we got the news yesterday that McCaffrey out on the IR there, will not be available to him anytime soon. I don't think it really makes much of a difference. But those of you that think this is a good opportunity for Minnesota to do what they did, I believe, last year or the year prior with Kirk Cousins on that Monday night game, which was beat the living snot out of the 49ers and watch Purdy turn the ball over 20 times. Could we be in for another day there? The market seems to think so, because they are buying as much Minnesota stock as humanly possible here this morning. Sam Darnold, was it an aberration? Is he the real deal? We are going to have to figure that out rather quickly against this defense. This is a better defense than he faced against the Giants. We'll see whether or not O'Donnell is really really this quarterback whisperer and can really, one man shits another man's gold, apparently. We'll see if Sam Darnold is that. As we welcome in the Prez, Lawrence Presman in the house, ready to go here on a big Sunday week 2. Prez, welcome in, my brother. I know you've been itching all week with this, with these NFL games coming up, and I know you got a couple you want to break down. Namely, a game that has not been talked about much, although we just saw it come across in the chat room. Cleveland and Jacksonville, two teams that lost in interesting ways last week there, Prez. Both coming in 0-1. It's another hot, humid day here in Florida, in Jacksonville. What do you think we're getting in this game with the Browns and the Jags today?
Joe, first off, thanks for having me. Really excited to be here. Loved doing this last week. Not often I'm on a show with somebody better looking than me, so I have to get used to that and accept that. Plus, man, you are seriously freaking tanned, bro. Okay. The other thing is, had a horrific.
You're Canadian and I'm in Miami. There's a big difference there, Press. There's a big difference.
It's like 85. It's like 85 degrees here. Had a horrific day yesterday. Yesterday was a humbling day, dude. You know, I had a 5% play in Mississippi State. Nothing like being completely and totally wrong and looking like you have absolutely no idea what the hell you're doing. And it happens. Teddy and I speak about it on WagerTalk today. It just happens, especially early on in the season when you take a look at Toledo and you're like, okay, they're one way and then they show they're not and vice versa. Humbling experience. But the good part about it is that was yesterday. So let's get into today's action. My apologies to everybody who did play my plays yesterday. We just cannot win on demand. Okay, Cleveland and Jacksonville. Joe, I want to start by saying that Cleveland is the most overrated team in football right now, and their defense has been the most overrated defense in football for the last few years. Everybody constantly talks about how great their defense is, and look, they are excellent. If yards gained counted, Cleveland would beat everybody because nobody has kept their opponents to less yards than Cleveland from a defensive perspective last year and the year before. And it doesn't count. Like, nobody gives a shit about how many yards you keep your opponents to. This Cleveland team last year, number one in yards, in keeping their opponents' yards down. Number 16 in allowing points scored. They have a mediocre defense in the only statistic that matters, keeping points off the board. I look at this Cleveland team and I think to myself, this team is in a free fall. I think we've got ourselves a Cleveland team that the trajectory is down. Nobody wants to play with Deshaun Watson except masseuses, I guess. Well, actually, they don't want to play with him either. There's like 200 of them that are already complaining. Nobody wants him as a teammate. He is a shell of himself. We're looking at a guy who's throwing 5-yard passes on his completions. Their wide receivers, good on paper, can't seem to find any space. They've got no Nick Chubb. Their running game's a bit of a disaster. Their O-line is injured. Dallas literally rented space in their backfield. They actually bought space in Cleveland's backfield last year, and I think they're going to rent that space out to Jacksonville this weekend. I look at this Jacksonville team, and I think their trajectory is exactly what they are. They might make the playoffs by one game. They might miss the playoffs by one game. They're going to win. They're going to lose. They're going to win. They're going to lose. They're going to win. They're going to lose. Last week, they played great against Miami, except for a couple of brain cramps at the end of the game. I'm not in love with this Jags team, but I look at this and I say to myself, I think we have a team that has a shot at the playoffs in Jacksonville and a team that has a shot at maybe the number 5 draft pick in Cleveland. That's how bad I look at this Cleveland team. I'm thinking we get -3. It's a short number. I like Jacksonville here, and I'm telling you guys, this is a client play. And I'm 65% in 2 years of NFL ATS bets. 65% in 2 years. I know what I'm talking about. Take the Jags -3.
I'll tell you this, I am starting to see some money. Team total seems to be a popular bet in this, Prez, right now. Cleveland Browns team total over 19.5 seems to be a popular bet that is coming in. Jacksonville cannot be trusted in the second half. No way I would look at this team outside of the first half. They got to play a full game first before I will believe it. But is Cleveland going to be that terrible again? Well, Depends on how many massage chairs are in Jacksonville at this point here. What do we got here? Steven jumping in saying, hey, Joe, great show. After the way the Jets got gashed on the ground, I'm liking Tennessee +4. What do you guys think here? I'm breaking out in hives thinking about betting the Jets. That's what I'm thinking here, Prez. How about you? You trust them?
Joe, one of the great things about sports betting is you don't have to bet every game. And although I would really like to have an opinion here, it's very tough. The bottom line is, if Tennessee had beat Chicago last week, I would be all over the New York Jets. But that was such a horrible, horrific, embarrassing, almost Mississippi State-like loss by Tennessee. We know we have been down this path a million times. I don't want to bet against a team that had such a humiliating loss last week. This is a team that was screamed at and yelled at all week long. And as for the Jets, I don't trust them yet. We still have a quarterback who's played one game in basically a year and a half. He's over 40 years old. He has as much gray hair as me. I got to believe this is a lay-off game. If I had to bet it, I would look to the under, but I just don't find any value in any direction on this football game.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the prize draft pick of Tennessee was J.C. Latham, the offensive tackle that was supposed to be able to protect their quarterback there, Will Levis, and he gave up the third most pressures last week against Chicago, 5 to be in fact. I can't imagine what Quinnen Williams is going to do here today. I'm with you, Prez. It feels like an under across the board. There is no way they are going to allow him to drop back Will Levis and throw the ball against this Jets team. I think it's going to be very slow going. And that secondary at Tennessee is legit, people. Absolutely legit with Snead back there. So I think this is run versus run. May the best team win. Good luck getting points in this one here. You have a interesting thought, though, on the New England-Seattle game, which I had just said, Press, we're starting to see some money rolling in on Seattle here this morning. It's been 3.5 for most of the week. The hook has been out there. No Kenneth Walker. That means Geno and others are going to have to get it done on the road in New England. On paper, you would think this shouldn't be a problem, but now we're starting to see threes across the board here. How are you approaching this one?
Joe, I think it's really easy, and I think everybody here listening, and by the way, everybody, thank you for joining us on today's show. Really appreciate it. Write this down. Bet the team total for New England Patriots under from now until the end of the year. This is a team, Joe, I don't know if you realize this. They averaged 13.6 points a game last year. That is literally under 2 touchdowns a game. Now, I understand they had no quarterback last year. They don't have one this year either, Joe. And their running game is excellent. So the way I want to look at New England, and I'm going to explain this in 2 directions. The most important thing for over and unders is how many downs it takes to get how many plays it takes to get a first down. If you take a look at teams like Kansas City, they probably average roughly 2 plays to get a first down. New England is going to average about 2.8 plays to get a first down, which means they are going to eat through the clock. I think we're going to see the most conservative offense in the league every game by far. There is simply no reason for Brissett to air that ball out and to stretch the field. This is a team that is going to run the ball 2 out of 3 plays. When they do pass the ball, it's going to be on slants and outs, some wheel routes, 5 yards, that type of a thing. They're going to slow this game to a crawl. Conversely, I think they might have one of the best defensive units in the league, and I think their secondary is probably second to none. What does that mean? That means their opponent is going to average close to 3 plays per first down. So I think we see all year long New England using all 3 plays to get a first down, New England's opponent using all 3 plays to get a first down. That's going to slow New England down, and they're going to be horrible in the red zone, as we saw last week with only one touchdown. And they're going to be slow themselves. Under 17.5 minus 140. Man, if that line is around all year, take it every week without question. Don't worry about their opponent. Don't worry about the point spread. This is as easy as it gets. Team total under New England Patriots all year long.
Yeah, expect Brissett is going to be under fire back there in the pocket. There, if they can't run the ball, Prez, I am with you. I don't know who's the wide receiver that scares you on New England. And quite honestly, you got a bunch of rookie guards and tackles there in New England. Yeah, no, it's not. So Brissett is not going to have any time. Leonard Williams on the other side is going to wreak havoc there.
Oh, yes.
I'm with you. There is no reason to bet anything even remotely close to an over on team totals when it comes to the Patriots in any way, shape, or form, unless Geno Smith's turning the ball over in the red zone every time. I have no idea, but I'm
and Joe, that happens.
It happens.
And we could get a kick return. We could get a punt return. We could get, a tip off a helmet. Stuff happens. Without question, New England team total under will not win every single time this year. But when all's said and done, it's going to be like, 13-5 type thing, 13-4 type thing, 14-3, that type of an area. I think it's going to be high. And they won last week. And last week it was 16.5, and they had 10 points in the first quarter. So let's not overthink that play.
No, let's not overthink that at all. Get in there. I know some great comments coming in the chat room. Andrew also pointing out that you're right. McDonald, the new head coach of Seattle, one of the better defensive minds. That plays right into the under as well for the New England team total there. Also, I believe it was Titan CT, by the way. The Jets are going to play 3 games in 10 days because they play Thursday as well this week against New England. So, the schedule is interesting to say the least for the Jets. So this is a game they need to have this one. We can forgive the loss to the 49ers on the road, but you're not going to forgive a loss to Tennessee.
What does that mean? They need to have this one. I like. Is that factored into your betting?
It means that if the Jets are all in because they have a healthy Aaron Rodgers at 40 years old, you better win the games you're supposed to win early on. Otherwise, you ain't making the playoffs, and the coach is gone, the front office is gone, everybody is gone if you're losing to Tennessee and to New England, and you start 0-3 within a 2-week stretch. Ugly
and yet,
for the Jets.
And yet teams lose in those situations as often as they win. We talk about must-win games all the time. Never take a team in a must-win game. I was talking to somebody last night, and I know this is a different sport, Joe, but a story that I think people should remember when looking at these, they have to win. 2 years ago, the Pittsburgh Penguins needed to win the final game of the season to make the playoffs. The Chicago Blackhawks needed to lose the final game of that season to be in first place to get Connor Bedard. Chicago won 5-2. So let's not get carried away by, they need to win. I respect that for teams that have a makeup like Kansas City does right now, or Buffalo, or the San Fran, But what have the Jets shown us in the last 2 decades? Like, they're still the Jets. Until they have turned their culture around, they're never must bet when must win.
I wouldn't bet them at all, but I also don't want to hear any more sound bites of Aaron Rodgers telling Jet fans to relax because you lose this game and you lose to New England. Nobody's relaxing in Jet Nation. I can promise you that, Aaron Rodgers, and you can say it all you want. It ain't going to make life any easier for you on that one there. Cowboys also seems to be a lot of love in the chat room for the Cowboys here today against the Saints. We do have a message from our friends over at the Westgate. Chase Michaelson was supposed to be on today, but they're having a little bit of a difficult time right now at the sportsbook at the Westgate. which apparently somebody used the bathroom and things didn't work out all that well. So now the hazmat team is in the sports book. But I will tell you what he just wrote me here. The Sharps are on a couple of games here today. Big. New Orleans is one of them, plus 6.5. And like we had mentioned earlier, we're starting to see, I'm kind of shocked, Prez, this didn't get to a touchdown. It never hit 7. It's hovering around 8. Well, listen, even if it does hit 7, it's coming back down to 6.5 because that's the line drawn in the sand. And the book needs New Orleans plus 6.5, Green Bay plus 2.5, and the Raiders plus 9, which is also interesting here, because we're starting to see that the money keeps rolling in on the Ravens here. I'm starting to see 9s again. And Chase is telling us right now he has seen nothing but big bets on New Orleans. Green Bay at home is a dog, and the Raiders plus 9. I can't argue with any of those, Prez. Can you?
Well, I can argue with on one of them. So firstly, Green Bay, I think, is the right side here. Somebody asked me last night, how can Green Bay win? They don't have Jordan Love. Let me tell you guys, yes, they are technically the youngest team in football. However, this is a team that went to the playoffs last year, and this is a team that has kept their defense assembled. In other words, they have not had a complete turnover. This is basically the same unit that ran out last year. This Green Bay Packer team is a veteran team, even though they are young. They made the playoffs last year. They understand how to win. They are playing at home. They are playing against an Indianapolis team like the New York Jets that have not earned the right for us to bet on them yet. And they're going to run the ball all day long. I can see Green Bay getting out of this thing with a win. I'm not betting this game, but I think Green Bay is the right side. As for the new, I want to leave the Dallas to last. What was the other one?
The Raiders. In fact, he just
I don't see the Raiders are a bad bet. The Raiders are a bad bet.
The book needs Raiders and Panthers money line in a big way, as well as Pittsburgh to win, because a lot of Denver love in the market right now.
Joe, I want to make an overall comment, and that is the way I handicap games is I try not to be too cute. You know, taking Carolina last week, which all the wise guys did, that's a bit cute. You know, way to go, guys. You get to wake up in the morning and say, hey, I did it. I took the Panthers and won. Well, you lost. And Baltimore is going to annihilate this Raiders team. I have Baltimore in a teaser. I didn't bet them because I don't normally bet -9s, especially when I'm playing a team that's off of a loss like the Raiders are. But I don't see any value on the Raiders here. Baltimore dominated the game against Kansas City last week. They were beat them by yards 99. I know that's not important, but they were a toenail away from tying that game up, or they would have gone for 2, either covering the spread or winning the game outright. I don't like the Raiders at all. And as for the New Orleans Saints, what? Dallas is Joe. All summer, Dallas sucks. Take the Dallas, win-loss under. Take Dallas it won't win the division. Where is this all coming from? They have the best defense, the best defenseman in all of football in Micah. This Dallas team, go look at the statistics. They were number 1 last year in offense. They will be number 1 again this year in offense. They were number 5 last year in keeping people from scoring. Number 5. In keeping people from scoring. To give you perspective, the mighty Cleveland Browns were number 16. They were number 5 in keeping people from scoring. They will be in the top 5 again. How many teams in football, other than maybe Kansas City and San Francisco, have both sides of the ball in the top 5 in every category? This Dallas team is vicious. They're 16-0 at home, and people are going, New Orleans can still cover if they lose by 3 or if they lose by 6. I'm not stepping in the way of this juggernaut Cowboy regular season monster. There's absolutely no freaking point. Why?
I'm with you. But like you said, stranger things have happened here, and the market continues.
Just really quick, Joe. Really quick. Rob Lynch writes, Dallas chokes late season. Joe, We're in week 2, right? We're not in late season.
Right.
I don't have to factor that in today, right? Okay, just checking. Don't give a shit.
You only read half of Rob Lynch's statement because the rest of it was no doubt this is when they will roll.
Yes. And I love Rob.
It's a quality
Points out my Grateful Dead hat, Grateful Dead tattoo. I love Rob Lynch. Rob Lynch, love. But yes, Dallas chokes later.
Mac Hudson, Elliott longest rush under 11.5. Not a bad look there. The defense of the Saints should be able to even limit Ezekiel Elliott running there. One more for the Westgate here talking, and again, it's that Pittsburgh Steeler game. The books really need the Steelers to cover. It would be a huge day because you mentioned don't get cute, but people are getting cute back in Carolina again here, there, Prez, because it's now down to 4.5. So somebody is betting Carolina, which is why the book needs Carolina money line, Raider money line, and a Pittsburgh cover to absolutely clear house today. So if you want to know what the book needs, that's what they need if you want to side with the books here today. But that is disgusting on so many levels because I don't trust the Chargers as much as I don't trust Carolina, Prez.
Yeah, so I'm with you, dude. Like, if you were to bet Carolina, I would be like, okay, bet Carolina. Why are you betting this football game? What is making you bet this game? I mean, the Chargers have shown us nothing, literally nothing. Last week, they were lucky to get out of there with a win. They have no wide receivers. Their running game is all they got right now. I know Herbert, as I call him, is an amazing quarterback, but you need somebody to throw to. This is a team in transition. Carolina's a mess. Why are you betting this football game? As for Pittsburgh and Denver, why are you not just taking the under? Like, what are you? Yeah, Pittsburgh's going to win this game. Really? Why? Pittsburgh did nothing last week against Atlanta. Now, yes, they have a monster in Crosby. In TJ Watt. By the way, and I mentioned this, TJ Watt is the best thing for my sex life. I just put him on TV. My woman gets excited. We go at play. Off topic. Just throwing that out there. Why would you bet the side here, Joe? The under is the play. Both of these teams are going to run extremely conservative offenses. I don't think we're going to see the Steelers throwing the ball down the field. I don't think we're going to see Bo Nix whipping the ball down the field. The one interesting thing about the Denver game last week, which really freaked me out, because, Peyton's some great coach and all.
Right.
Why the hell did he have Bo Nix throwing the ball 46 times in a game they were leading and a game that was never less than 2 scores apart? What was his reasoning there? Rookie quarterback, first game ever, throwing the ball close to 50 times, made no sense. No chance that they run the same idiotic strategy this week. Both these teams are going to run all day long. There's going to be, take the over 5 field goals. I don't see how they get the points here. If I had to take a side, and I did, I have Denver in my circa picks. Why not? Equal teams, both shitty offenses, one's at home, getting points, low scoring game. What am I going to take the favorite for?
I am all about if it ain't broke, don't fix it, guys. You know this. And here's what I know about the Pittsburgh Steelers under Mike Tomlin on the road. This is the second straight road game for them. They did it last week as well in game 1. This is a team under Tomlin is 52-20-1 to the under on road games under Mike Tomlin. I don't care how low. This ain't getting a 30. It didn't get the 30 with Atlanta. It ain't getting over 30 in this one either, Prez. That's what Tomlin does. They slow it down. They go conservative on the road. The defense holds it in there, gives their offense a chance to get it. But I'll also say this. You don't want to bet against Tomlin as an underdog. You don't want to bet Tomlin against better teams. But you want to bet against Tomlin when he plays crap, because they always play down to the competition, Prez, in these spots. No way do I see Pittsburgh covering, much less winning this game. I do think Denver is absolutely the right side in this one. But I don't care how low it gets, Prez. We're not getting points in this game. Field goal city.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wrote in my analysis on this game or the presidential address, I don't have a problem if you take both team totals under here.
Under. Great.
Yeah, this I'm with you, Joe, and you can go back to Ben Roethlisberger. You can go in what I love about Pittsburgh is it doesn't matter who their quarterback is, who their running back is, who their defense is, where they're playing, how many wide receivers they have, whether they need to win, it makes no difference. They have defined themselves. They are like 20 years of unders.
Unreal. I love the under in that one there. There's no reason to look anyplace else. Some of the other late movement here that we're seeing, guys, right now, so is this Detroit line. It was 6.5 early in the week, Prez. Is now up to 8. The entire secondary of Tampa Bay decimated out for this game here. There should be, if you're looking for touchdown props and you're looking for a game that you want to have your same game parlays and you want to correlate them to everything with Detroit being able to score touchdowns and Jared Goff going up and over whatever totals he has, Prez. Detroit should put up a pretty healthy number at home against this depleted secondary already of the Tampa Bay Bucs.
Yeah, Joe, 30.5, I think, is the team total on this game for Detroit. It's interesting because, yes, common sense would be take the over. I'm going to actually stay away from the total in this game for a couple of reasons. One, I need to see more out of Tampa Bay. Last week we had, four touchdowns by Baker Mayfield, just to bring in Sam Darnold in Minnesota, because I know there's a lot of money coming in on Minnesota as well. Are you really going to bet that Baker Mayfield is going to have 2 really, really, really great games in a row? Are you really going to bet that Sam Darnold is going to have 2 really, really great games in a row? It's just, I need to see more out of Tampa. The number is so high at 51.5 or whatever it is right now at this very moment. I think Detroit is the right play here. I'd rather you actually be on Detroit -8 than the over. I like Detroit in the first half. That's probably my favorite bet here. But again, this Detroit over is going to be, it's going to come down to, are they going to convert on 4th and 1 at the 40, 35, 30, 25 yard line? Who the hell knows? One game they do, one game they don't. I loved it at 48, Joe. I loved it at the beginning of the week at 48. I was talking to somebody yesterday about that 51.5. It is the scariest number in totals because 24, 24.
52.5 now, Prez.
Oh, yeah.
It continues to rise.
I can't do it, Joe. I can't do it. No, I agree with it. I just can't do it.
Right. I agree 100%. All right, Prez, what do you got locked, loaded, ready at your page at WagerTalk?
I got 6-pack up for my clients, Joe, but I want to say this. Anybody interested in playing me all year long, which I do suggest you do in NFL football, you're going to get analysis on every single game on the board. So basically what I provide is a week report. So today, week 2 report. In my week 2 report, you're going to have 6 client bets, including a 4% play, which is a total. 2 of those client bets are NFL or ATS bets, in which I gave one out already today, Jacksonville. And then you're going to get all my circa bets, my survivor bets, and then opinions and bets on every other game as well down the board. So that's what you get when you buy my week 2 report. I put a lot of work and effort into it. I would say I put 4 times the amount of work and effort into NFL than anything else. It's one of my passion sports. So that's what you get if you play the Prez. And the best part about it is I had a horrific day yesterday. So conversely to Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, I don't think I'm going to have 2 bad days in a row. That's where I'm at, my friend. I'm so privileged to be doing this show with you. How fun was that?
Outstanding as we flew by on that, Prez. No doubt you're going to run it 6-0 day in your future here, Prez. I have no doubts, man. Go get it. Appreciate the time as always. And once again, those of you guys joining us on the social media chat rooms there, whether it be TikTok, Instagram, X, in fact, Facebook, and of course, YouTube. I'm talking to you, Mac Hudson, Andrew, Boss 429's Titan CT, Big Daddy in the house, Roger, Long, Have Cash. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. And you guys have been great. Also, Chap over on Instagram, appreciate you. Kevin Bush, Mar Reggie over on TikTok. This is Last Call, guys, each and every Saturday and Sunday. Come back and join us here as we give you all the last-minute line moves. We go live from the Westgate Sportsbook, the Superbook, each and every Saturday and Sunday to get you all the needs and all the latest information live from the Risk Room. Except for today, of course, as they had a bit of a plumbing problem. However, if you're just joining us, keep in mind the big needs for the sports books today involve the money line for the Raiders, the money line for Carolina, and Pittsburgh to cover and maybe just win in a big, big fashion. A lot of sharp money coming in on New Orleans, a lot of sharp money coming in on the Raiders. And also, no doubt, Minnesota has gotten a ton of love as that is now down to 4 in the marketplace on the 49ers. T-minus 16, actually 18 minutes and counting till the opening kickoff. Give us that thumbs up, hit that like, hit the follow button. Make plans to come and join us again all week long here on Wager Talk TV. Nobody's got more free content than we do all week long. On behalf of the fellas here at Wager Talk and Kelly Stewart, as she celebrates with our good friend, the prop queen, and her birthday here, Ariel Epstein. Happy birthday, Ariel. Guys, enjoy the games today. Best of luck with all your plays. We'll see you again next weekend for another edition of Last Call. Cash those tickets, guys. We'll see you again soon.